everyone. Today we're going to be playing Katawa Shoujo. Let's get right
My
into
morning
it.
alarm goes off, and I flail about uselessly for a while until I remember that I decided to give morning runs another shot. I don't know if this was my greatest idea, but I'm determined to keep going. This is about my health after all. Sure, things haven't been great lately for me, but that hasn't made its existence so intolerable that I'm not going to try everything I can to stay healthy. Good! Besides, it's all about asserting some kind of control over this thing, right? If I can manage that well, I can manage anything. Correct. At least that's what I keep telling myself. Once again, it would appear that I'm not alone in my run. Emmy has apparently been here for some time. It looks like she's already worked up a good sweat. Just when does this girl come down here anyway? Oh, it's you! I'm surprised to see you again. Why is that? Well, not many people actually manage to come back for a second try. She frowned, seemingly annoyed by a passing thought. Like the rest of the track team, for instance. Still, it was only supposed to be on a volunteer basis, so it's not that big of a shock. And I guess it's pretty early in the morning. A shrug, and suddenly it appears that she's forgotten what she was talking about. The frown disappears entirely, and she seems to snap back to her previous train of thought. So, come on then. What? You're going to run again, right? Well, yeah. So come on! I find myself suddenly grabbed and yanked onto the track. Things seem to be set on mirroring yesterday's run. That is, I seem to be struggling while Emmy moves with an effortlessness I find inevitable. It's incredibly bothersome to be so easily worn out. I know I should be patient, work towards things gradually, but it's difficult to stay positive about this. We round the track and start on our second lap. Emmy seems to have grown impatient, keeping pace with me, and begins to pull away. This is where I gave out yesterday. Will I be able to do some more? Go for it or take it easy? I can try. What am I doing here? Am I really just going to fold and let Emmy pull ahead? I speed up. The second lap's done quickly, and while even considering I keep going. Yay! Emmy looks back over her shoulder at me and grins. Still going? Want you to think about shape when I am. Emmy laughs without breaking her stride, no less, and speeds up even more. Well, if this is the way we're going to play things, I increase my own pace as well. Oh, careful. I can feel my lungs burning, and my legs are starting to question what I think I'm doing. Lactic acid screams at my muscles, but I close my ears. I can't let myself fall behind because that would be a loss. The rationale voice in my head inquires mildly just when we started playing a game. I'd answer it, but I'm having a lot of trouble thinking at present. She's so fast. How does she keep it? Oh. It's like a string pulling in my chest, a choking feeling of narrowness and pain. Before I can think of anything, the track disappears from under my feet. I stumble, one hand shooting down to clutch my chest, the other hitting the track to keep me from falling on my face. Emmy whirls around and her eyes widen. He's out! Oh no. She yells at me, sprinting from the other side of the track. What's wrong? Nothing, just keep your breathing steady. Calm down. Don't panic. Don't panic. Do you need me to get the nurse? I close my eyes, shutting out the outside world. My heart struggles to regain its rhythm. Slowly, the pain in my chest begins to subside. Soon it's gone, like nothing had happened. Okay, it was nothing? No, something happened there. Ooh, I open my eyes again and glance at the very world. Emmy, I think I'm fine. Voice sounded weird even to myself, oddly and even in matter of fact. It makes Emmy frown. I don't think you are. She seems to come to a decision and nods to herself. Right, you're coming with me. You've got to see the nurse. Emmy grabs my arm and drags me up. I feel a bit wobbly, but I refuse the shoulder Emmy offers her support. Honestly, I'm a little ashamed of my own weakness. There's nothing to be ashamed about. I'd really rather not have Emmy concerned about me, but it seems to be too late. I'd even rather not anyone concerned about my condition, though at this point it seems to be too late for that as well. I'd like to be able to deal with this whole thing on my own without being a bother to anyone else. It's not a bother, though. While I'm wishing for things, I'd rather not have this condition in the first place. I can understand that. Nurse! Emmy crashes into his office without knocking, but doesn't alarm the nurse in the least. Good morning, sunshine. What's up? Sunshine. Anyway, he calmly sips from his coffee mug, but lays it down after following Emmy's gaze to me looming in the doorway. Hey Sal, what brings you here? We were running and he stumbled over and started grabbing at his chest, and I thought I'd come get you. Easy there, Emmy. Calm down. Hey Sal, what happened? I don't know. We were running and then my chest started hurting like that time before it went away after a few seconds. It was just a flutter or something. The nurse frowns as if to say that just a flutter is some kind of oxymoron. I didn't mean quite this when I suggested you get some exercise. You've got to be more careful, Ethel. I was being careful. Come to think of it, I just got into a race with a member on the track team. Doesn't seem as well reasoned as I thought it would. Just what? That is, I was racing Emmy. Emmy, is that true? Emmy fidgets, looking adorably contrite. Well, finally she can't seem to bring herself to say it aloud and merely nods. The nurse sighs and rubs his forehead with one hand tiredly. Emmy, you've got to be more sensitive to the limits of others. It's not Emmy's fault. I decided to continue. I don't know if he's told you, but he saw has a bad heart, and getting him to race you was incredibly irresponsible. How is this her fault? Exactly, I started it. The nurse is stunned by my statement. You what? I started it. Why are you coming at Emmy? We were just running and Emmy started to pull away, and so I sped up to catch her. The nurse stares at the ceiling, mutters a prayer for patience or some god or any another, and looks back down at the both of us. So you're both stupid. That's a comfort, I guess. Now come on, Hisao. I've got to make sure your heart is not going to explode or something. Dutifully obey and follow him to the adjustment room, where we ascertain that I am in fact not going to keel over. So how does it feel? I don't know, nothing much. Tired, but might just be from the exercise. You should stay here for a few hours and rest, and we'll see how you feel after that. I'm not going to object, so I lie down on the infirmary bed. Was it better I didn't do that? A thoroughly miserable Emmy comes in after getting an earful from the nurse and the other. Why is she getting an earful? She didn't do anything wrong. I couldn't hear what he said, though, through the closed door, but I'm sure it wasn't pleasantries. Look, I'm really, really sorry. Girl, it's not your fault. I should have been more careful. Hey, you didn't know. It's not your fault. She looks awfully down and sorry. My reassurances don't do anything much to cheer her up. I want to make it up to you. There's nothing to make up to me. Again, with that decisive nod. So you have to come to lunch with me. Oh, okay. Oh, I'll take that. I'll bring it in for you, okay? Something really, really good. I startle with you don't have to, but then shut up and not just nod at her when I see your face. Good. We meet on the roof. We? Yep, the weather's nice now, so the roof's a great spot for lunch, you know? I see. You'll come, right? You wouldn't deny me the chance to make it up to you. Of course not. Great, see you there. I stay afloat somewhere between asleep and awake, feeling completely drained. Not only my body, but all of me is limp and paralyzed apart from my senses. I swallow with difficulty and then try to lie as still as I can, which in this state is not a very hard thing to do. The nurse is shuffling around on the other side of the curtains he drew to give me privacy. I can see his shadow shifting about in the sunlight. He has opened the window to his office. It's windy outside. The clean white curtains flutter in the breeze in a heavy, lazy motion like waves. Light sifts through them slowly, half absorbing into the fabric. I close my eyes. The breeze on my face feels like the soft fabric of the curtains. I listen to the sound of my heartbeat for a moment, trying to shut out the sound of the nurse tapping away on his computer, my own heavy breathing. It's steady. Man, not even a week and I end up like this again. I really messed up this time. Should have known better than to play the half-baked sports star in front of a real one. And why did I try to act brave like this with a heart flutter was no big deal, even when it was obvious that it was? It was just a reflex to push it away to keep it inside. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want Emmy to see it. Ugh. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I have to be more careful. I'll end up in the hospital again or worse. That's my fall stop before I give in to the tiredness. Oh, so bad for doing it now. It just sounded so fun. I fell asleep for how long? What time is it? I'm feeling a little lightheaded and I keep blinking compulsively. Pushing the curtain aside, I squint my eyes against the unfiltered light pouring in from the window. The texture from the canvas feels nothing like the wind did before. The nurse looks from his work, sitting exactly where he was before. How are you feeling? I can't really tell, so I don't answer anything. I'm feeling kind of groggy from falling asleep at such a weird time. Hopefully I don't look too weird. What time is it? Me croaking a question to gain some orientation, the nurse looking at his wristwatch before answering. Things that seem to happen in slow motion. 10:15. Try to think for a moment what that means, but I'm not really sure. You didn't answer my question, Isao. Oh, fine. Climbing down for that bed then. Let's see how you're doing. Don't... I tried to do exactly that, but only to sway dizzily when I moved too fast. The nurse moves to support me by an arm and sighs. Stand up too quickly is what I was going to say. Just sit there. I'll check your pressure to make sure. My good intentions sure lasted for only a long time. I shut up embarrassed with myself while the nurse gets busy with an old-fashioned contraption in my arm. After a couple of minutes, he puts it away, looking neither pleased nor unhappy. You're all right. Head stopped spinning? Yeah, good. And how are the contents doing? You didn't show very good judgment out there, Hisao. I swallowed the retort I was going to make. It's what I was thinking myself. But hearing it stated by somebody else makes me want to protest. What he's saying is not pleasant to hear. It doesn't make him any less right. No, sir. He nods, still looking as neutral as he was before. It would be easy to be angry with him if he said told you so or something, but he doesn't. I can try and help you to help your health, but ultimately the last call lies with you. Hopefully this little episode will be something that'll remind you of that. Here, a note of your teacher to avoid an interrogation. I take a slip of paper he's offering and then make my leave as I can't think of anything else to say, nor even really want to. Stay out of trouble, you hear me? I don't think it was anything but a scare, but next time we could be different. I hear you. There is some way to get to the school building straight from the auxiliary building, but I'm not keen to find out and possibly get lost, so I go out from the exit that I know works. I stop at the stairs of the auxiliary building. That's words hard to say. Deliberating for a moment between going to the dorms to get my books and stuff and going straight away to the class. The sun stings my eyes, so I head towards the dorms. Wait, don't I have to go to a lunch thing, though? The halls are quiet, the courtyard was, naturally, so since everyone in class, I knock lightly on the door of Street 3 and push open the door when Mutao calls from the other side. Sorry I'm late. 15 pairs of eyes turn to me. Good morning, Nakai. Muto seems to be somewhat confounded by my coming in late, as if I interrupted his flow or something. Judging from the rambling lectures his classes tend to be, that might be the case. I pass him the note the nurse gave me. Muto takes it with a nod and reads it quickly. He lifts an eyebrow and gives me a kind of stern look, but doesn't say anything, just nods calmly again. I shrug and he gestures at me to run along as I naturally do. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I have even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. The first days I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finishes lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So, as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food. Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. But what I meant was more... The remainder of his sentence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bell, and everyone starts packing their things. Mutao deliberates for a minute, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gets up and sits down. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in the school probably get. Most of the students seem to be headed down for the cafeteria. Normally I join the flow and grab my lunch myself, but today is different. Today I've been invited on to lunch on the roof. Yeah, okay. An odd location, but that's where I was told to go. Fortunately, I've managed to find shelter for the storm in the lee of the classroom door. Eventually, the torrent subsides, and I step tentatively into the hallway, only to be met by Emmy, who comes flouncing down the hallway like a cannonball. Hey, Sal, great timing! I have super extra lunch today. Perhaps promise. Let's go upstairs. The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door complete with a missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual was that removed the lock. Emmy shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Oh, suddenly a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Amy flinches back, almost falling down the stairs. Oh, careful! Eek! Hello! Yipes, you scared me, Ren! Wait, isn't she? Hello! Hey! Noticing that Ren is speaking to me, Amy looks curiously at me. You two know each other? Yeah, I've been helping her out with some painting. I look confusedly at Emmy. She's a friend of yours. Rin has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school. I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy. The awkward silence lasts only a few seconds until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off. I invited Ace out for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh, does this mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3. Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us here. I guess the roof is not as popular as it is in other schools. A few run-down benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. The small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quadrangle and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks and driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow, when I look towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big monopolis seems so far away in form here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depends on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine, looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only 1 short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly that I haven't had time to think about how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open field, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear, circular sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Amy settles on a bench with Ren in town, produces 1 big and 2 small lunches boxes from her bag. Come on, Hisao, what are you waiting for? She is beckoning me to join them, making room on their already small bench. I seat myself on the corner of the bench and take as little space as possible. Pretty cramped, but somehow all 3 of us fit on it. Impressive view. Emmy surpasses a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Ren and hands another lunchbox to me. Here you go, lunch is promised. Homemade no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good. Thanks, I made them myself when I can. How did you make these? When did you make these? Did you make them the same day? Is this the same day? Conversation dies off as I said about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening the lunchbox and popping a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's almost a reminder of the sort of place I am in right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean I'm giving up on being a normal person? What? Does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? Yes. I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch as if it had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding. My morning run always works up an appetite, which is great because I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure. What would happen if you loathe it? You'd become a man. I very clearly choke off my lunch trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Like what? I think that answers my question. Never mind. So, I struggled to think of small talk and settle on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Ren seems content to let Emmy answer this question. Someone in the housing department thought that we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another. Complement each other? Like shoes and a suit? What? Huh? Emmy giggled at my confusion. Put it together and we've got all our limbs, get it? Oh. So I started helping Ren get ready in the mornings, and that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get going. I see. Ren chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems pretty obvious. Really? Kind of. This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That comes with the fact that Ren is genuinely curious, so makes me feel slightly better and yet confused. I mean, you've got no arms, so putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm going to just stop talking now. You should probably have before. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Ren nods at what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a content noise. Ah, that was good. As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Ren speaks up. I'm thirsty. Oh, almost forgot about that. Sorry. With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice and one to Ren that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with the pink color scheme, and keeps in the equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch to herself. Ren dexterously stabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think either Emmy or Ren are the sorts of people who think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities. No, it's just normal. Ren especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that is a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure. Doesn't matter. So, Hisao, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice, actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch, too. Amy grins a 1,000-watt grin. Pleased at my response, I suppose. No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time, too, okay? I won't make you lunch, but you can bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Amy looks mock offended. Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve! She giggles. Well, if it's your answer, I guess Ren and I will just keep eating lunch all alone. I am suddenly by the most heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pouts. Kidding, I was kidding. I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location and the company's okay too. Emmy frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but seems happy enough if I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now, or at least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs. Ren, you didn't finish your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're going to fade away. Ren shrugs as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan and for something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of the books I finished reading. Walking inside to see that there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday, all the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books I'd borrowed into the return slot in the counter, Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging they made as they hit the trolley next to her. Ah, sorry, Yuko. Didn't mean to startle you. No, that's fine. It happens a lot. I'm used to it by now. Can I help you? It's okay. I think I know where everything is. Thanks anyway. I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay in the hospital, it's become a hard habit to break. wandered down to the fiction section towards the back of the library, scanning the bookshelves for anything that catches my eye. As I do, I look over to the corner where Hanako had been the last time I was here, not really expecting anything to come of it. Surprisingly, though, she's there, absorbed completely in a fairly thick book. I decide against intruding on her like last time and get back to finding reading material. After an indiscernible amount of time spent perusing the aisles, I finally decide on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With a minimum of fuss, I quickly walk over to the counter, check out the books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority left, presumably by their homes and dorms. Feeling utterly drained, I headed into my room to read the books I borrowed. There's been enough action and excitement for one day already. First is Alice's in Wonderland. I know the story, of course, but I never actually read the original book. It's just as trippy as I remember the story to be, with the wacky characters and nonsense plot. I start thinking to myself as some kind of Alice too, helplessly tumbling down the rabbit hole into the purple wonderland. Whoa, that's rude. Okay, that's rather strong expression. Still, the isolated location, the overt way the school accommodates to absolutely everything is unsettling. It is like another world. I wonder why I can't shake the feeling of being an outsider like Alice, despite most everyone being so hospitable and friendly with me. Turning another page, my mind starts drifting further away from the book. It's quiet. I can hear my heartbeat thumping against the fabric of my shirt. For some reason, it makes me feel really bad, like it has since that time in the forest with Iwanako, like I was locked in a cage with something nasty and scary. I put the book down for a while and stare at the ceiling, taking my time to shake off the feeling. 200 pages later, I fall asleep. That's a lot of pages. Students roll into class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people who have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not too surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes with lunch break, and then our time is our own. Muto lurches into class with an entire stagger. I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the riffling papers. That has partially been attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she's making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment, mate? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice the Mutel approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Why? Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out onto the highway. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what's going on, I wait silently. I heard from the school's head nurse that he had an accident the other day. So it's about that. Well, kind of, but it's not anything to be worried about. Yes, it is. Anything that can endanger your health is something to be worried about. We try our best here to prepare you for life here. Part of that involves knowing your limits and how to work around them. It would be remiss of me if I didn't speak up about this. All right, I get it. I'm sorry. Mito closes his eyes in frustration, and I realize this probably wasn't the best thing to say. Something tells me that you're not sorry. Pretend as much as you want, but this isn't a normal school. A lot of people have put in a lot of time, effort, and money to make sure that you and every other student here can have the same level of education as your peers. For you to abuse that by throwing out advice, especially medical advice, is plain selfish. Dude, I got the point a long while ago. I'm not quite sure if this is actually how he feels or if it is some act that is practiced many times to guilt trip students into doing the right thing. Either way, it's working. I understand. This is all new to me and I apologize. I know my limits now and I'll be sticking to them. Muto appears to lighten up a little, satisfied that his message has been received. I already got the message a while ago. You don't need to keep ramming it down my throat that I messed up, okay? I got it. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. Tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. That's so. I suppose there are still students out there who realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you've got to keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Who wants that to happen? No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the lay person, but any one of them could be the key to the next best thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I had to say. Let's go back inside, shall we? You really didn't even need to say that, though. My relief at that suggestion is innumerable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Muto pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. In an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Muto does not even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got from him there. The class returns to the near silence that Muto and I left in it before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly takes the remaining class time away till finally the bells cry out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers to those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend with the festival and all tomorrow. Hey, Hisako! Apart from me, Hanako... Oh, sorry, I said Hisako. Apart from me, Hanako, the other one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is the least normal harder than it is for Hanako. But none of my business. I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relatively proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either. So an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. A pencil lead splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sound of my irritated sides subsequently fumble around for it feels like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako! Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back to the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does nothing but sit in her chin or her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. Can I talk to her? The boredom eventually becomes too much for her, though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. After about 10 minutes of restlessly shuffling in her seat and trying to read, Nako closes her book and leaves too. As should I, since the assignment is all but finished and there is nothing else to do in the classroom. Not that I have anything to do anywhere else either. How can I not talk to her? School is a beehive of activity, but nobody pays me any heed. I saunter past classrooms filled with students frantically doing this and that, buzzing about with the little worker bees. You wouldn't guess the school day is over. It's quite quieter outside, but not by much. People zip by left and right, hurrying as quickly as they can, busy and energetic. I feel the opposite. The midday sun seems to be draining all the spirit out of my body, making it feel limp all over. Warm, soft air flows inside my shirt, feeling like a cushion. I yawn lazily, thinking about what I'd do. I dropped off my books at the dorms first, and then something I haven't decided yet. Maybe Kenji in his room. Why would I want to talk to Kenji? On the way to the dorms, I spot Emmy coming my way, running despite not having those weird running prosthetics on. I wave at her and she skids to a stop. Yo, Hisao! Spatters of white and green paint on her nose and chin respectively, but her smile is wide as it seems always is. She leans closer to me, amplifying the feeling she was examining me. What you doing? Nothing really. I don't have anything to do for the festival and everyone else seems to be doing something important. That's perfect. Then you can help me and Ren. With the festival preparations, I'm not sure if I would be much help. That's fine. I'm not much help either. Amy grabs my wrist and starts dragging me back inside the school quite forcefully. It's her walking speed that is more like jogging, making me stumble over myself simply trying to keep up. The stairs slow Amy down a little bit. Maybe it's hard to climb with her legs, or maybe she finally ran out of breath. We go all the way back down to the third floor, and the seniors' hallway ended up with where I left 5 minutes ago. I could just as well have stayed here waiting for Emmy had I known. So is Rin working on that mural still? That's right, she needs all kinds of paints and brushes and stuff, so I went to get them from the art classroom. And you need me to help with that? Well, Rin told me that you already helped her, so I thought you wouldn't mind. I see. So thanks to Emmy's flask knowledge, here I am again, collecting stuff from the art classroom for other people. The room is empty apart from ourselves and the lonely specks of dust floating in the air. Amy skips straight away to the back wall, digging out a tiny crumpled piece of paper from her pocket. While she tries to make sense of the scrawled handwriting, I take a closer look at the materials lying around here. Dozens of paint cans and bottles are arranged on the shelves in the most unorganized fashion. Some look like they've been left there for several decades, relics of previous art club generations. Next to the heavy stacks of the neatly piled drawing paper are boxes full of different sized brushes and unassorted crayons. The smell of the paint, turbulenting and fresh paper float, the stale air mixing in my nostrils to form that unmistakable scent of art. Amy studies her notes, comparing them to markings on the various paint cans, and passes them to me as she finds the correct matches. She stretches her neck to look on the topmost shelf, but it's not quite enough. Her eye level stays below the shelf no matter what she does. Emmy gives up and just looks to the shelf longingly, like a child at a toy store, huffing in annoyance. After a moment of building anger, she starts jumping up and down, apparently trying to speed read the labels during the fraction of a second she can see them and catch what she can. It's so surprised that she fails miserably and almost manages to bring the entire shelf crashing down. Now I see why me lending a hand here would be useful. Come on, let me do that. It doesn't hurt to ask for help, really. I'm right here. You can't jump high enough, and I don't want you to hurt yourself trying. Also, I'm like twice your height. You're not. She turned around, flaring scorn, flushed cheeks and all. Just kidding. Anyway, I'll look up there, okay? She glared at me one more time, but can't catch up with a retort. With a grudging turns her back to me. So I begin scrounging around the top shelf for paint, while below, Emmy crouches and scavenge what she can from the cupboards. I shake my head a little after double-checking to ensure she can't see me do so. Amy having a complex about her height was a surprise. Couldn't have joked about it otherwise. She seems easygoing, but I guess everyone in there has their weak spots. Only after we have almost all the items collected and spread out on the desk like a treasure hunter's spoils, do I realize that it wasn't necessarily a height jab that got her riled up. She might not like to be told that she can't do something like jump, but Emmy herself seems to have forgotten all about it already. Quick to anger, quick to forgive. Is she the type of person? At least she doesn't seem to have taken anything to heart, and she chatters away happily while we pick up the rest of the items and then make our way back to Ren. I chivalrously carry the bulk of the materials as we make our way towards the dormitories. Ren is really stressed about getting her paints done. It's her own fault though. She should have started earlier. Is she going to make it? No idea. Looks good to me, but with Ren, you never know what's going on. I found her this morning lying in front of the dorm in fetal position. She hadn't slept all night. I can't believe the night nurse hadn't found her. And now she's painting again like crazy. Yeah, I've noticed that she comes off as kinda unhinged, so to speak. Emmy giggles at that, as well as my likely too obvious awkwardness. I don't mind it. She's just a little weird sometimes. On that, I can agree with her. Unlike me, Emmy seems to be cool with friends, whatever it is that feels so off about her. Still, they don't feel close like Misha and Shizune do. With them working on the same entity sometimes, it's hard to say where one ends and the other begins, even though they're so different, like Emmy and Ren are. And Ren is the most different of them all, different from anyone else I've met. Yeah, I guess she's a very unique person. I return to that word again, as if it accompanies Ren's personality by itself, but really it's just a substitute for lengthy descriptions of her oddities. Amy giggled as I grasped out for a properly descriptive word. She's just weird. You know, earlier she just spent half an hour sitting on her box and stared at her toes. She giggles again in a way that makes me think she doesn't know what's funny about it. It just is. All that time. The working area is a mess, but the mural itself has taken over even more of the wall since I last seen it. The disfigured human figures have been mostly covered in tones of red, pink, and orange, weird imaginary things populating the space between. It looks nice. I can't think of any word that would describe the word concisely and comprehensively, so I settled myself on the non-descriptive nice. But honestly, it seems that the area around the wall becomes untidier and at the same rate the mural progresses. The ground is littered in dozens of paint cans, various art supplies, and empty soda bottles. Ren herself is at the center of this chaos, standing there looking very cozy as she is a natural part of the scene. Her pant legs have been rolled up to her knees, exposing her thin legs, which sport a drying spectrum of war painting similar to those on Emmy's face. Emmy sprints to Ren ahead of me and gleefully jumps in front of her. I'm back! That was fast. Did you run in the corridors again? Hey, Sal, help me. Emmy points victoriously at me. Rin turns around, following Emmy's finger with her eyes, looking at my general direction. She nods absentmindedly at me. She looks like she hasn't slept since last night. A vacant, glazed stare that's focused slightly off of me, and movements like in a slow-motion movie. Hello, Sal. Thank you for the help. Don't mention it. I just did. Never mind. Looks like you've made progress. Looking good as far as I can tell. But now you've just made more bad luck. I know, but I'm willing to take the risk. That's a very nice thing to say. For me, of course, not for you. This is why artists are always unlucky. They have to constantly look at their unfinished paintings, so artists can't find romance. Their favorite TV shows are canceled, or they die young because of the unspecified disease. It's a deep and mysterious law of the universe. Unless they're blind. She considers this for a while, looking like she's going to fall asleep. There's a boy. At the art club, you see. Blind boy. So he doesn't see. He should become an artist. No bad luck guaranteed. Don't you think that would be a good idea? That's only blind people should become artists? No, none as such. You might have a point. Abandoning this train of thought, she turns again to consider her work and starts humming a tune that I think I recognize, but can't remember the name of. She rearranges the supplies we brought and moves a few paints cans around, trying to bring some organization to the scene. Emmy, I need the Peruvian blue paint. Which one's Peruvian? She is staring helplessly at several 8 cans, which is with a different tone of blue. It's the one with Peruvian blue paint in it. Geez, Ren, you're not helping at all. I look around as well, even though I don't know what Peruvian blue looks like either. I wonder what blue has to do with Perugia, or what Perugia even is. The name sounds vaguely similar, but I can't place it. While none of the blues look more Peruvian than the others, the small print on the label is legible enough to determine that none of them say anything about the contents being Peruvian. There is no Peruvian blue here. We need to get more then. I opened my mouth to say that actually we're not both needed for such a simple task like finding another pot of Prussian blue. Emmy's already grabbed my arm and started dragging me off. I wait till we're in, but who doesn't seem to have noticed that the two of us are even leaving? Well, she's noticed that she goes for a Prussian blue and finds out it's still not there. Maybe. Probably not, actually. While I'm busy thinking about how weird Rin is, Emmy's been dragging me back to the art classroom. I feel myself starting to run out of breath. What's the rush? Huh? Emmy's giving me an appraising look as if she's trying to figure something out. It's just they seem to be in a hurry. I'm not sure I can keep up. Apprehension draws on her face. Oh, you're not out of breath, are you? There's almost an accusing playfulness to her tone. I'm tempted to deny it, but then I realize I've been breathing very heavy since we stopped. I guess it's kind of obvious. A little. Not everyone can be in shape, you know. It takes all kinds, right? Amy frowns. It's not a particularly good frown. That is, I should get in shape? Not that I hadn't already decided to try that for this. After that flutter on the track, I figured there's real need to get in some sort of running habit. I was, after all, feeling pretty good until I had my false alarm. Well, actually I wasn't, but it was fun. Meanwhile, my comment seems to have helped him come to some sort of a decision. Well, that's it then. She gives me a serious look. You're joining me. I beg your pardon? In the mornings. You and I are now running partners. I've got a routine all planned out. In fact, she produces a crumpled sheet of paper. I've got it right here with me. Let's see and give it a once over. Times, dates, and laps all laid out. A slow increase from just a few laps a day to, my God, does she expect me running marathons? And where did she find the time to get this all together? How long did she plan this anyway? You've been planning this? A little, but it's really the nurse's idea. He told me to keep an eye on you to make sure you exercise like he told you to. This seems a bit much for just keeping an eye on me. Well, to be honest, I've been trying to find a runner partner in the mornings for a while now. What do you need a partner for anyway? It's easier to keep up a workout if you're not the only one doing it. Isn't that obvious? You're less likely to quit if someone else is counting on you to be there, right? I see. And this won't only keep you running, but it'll make sure that I keep running as well. Meaning that I'll be obeying the nurse. And I'll be keeping an eye on you just like he asked. You caught on quick, he saw. And if I refuse? I have no intention of refusing, of course. But I've got to at least put up a token of resistance to such a masterfully executed plan. Well, if you refuse, I'd have to pout. And you don't want that now, do you? And you'd have to live with being the guy who made Emmy Ibaraki pout. You don't want that on your conscience, do you? As if to demonstrate, Emmy begins pouting. It is the most adorable, heart-wrenching thing I've ever seen. Okay, I'll do it. Just don't do that. I feel like you just hit a puppy. So it's settled, right? You're going to be my running partner. Follow the workout and the dietary plan. Dietary plan? Yeah, the dietary plan. You've got to eat healthy if you're going to get in shape, you know. I examined the workout routine closely. I don't see a dietary plan on here. Oh right, I forgot to give that to you. Another crumpled sheet of paper is produced and handed over. It's somewhat less detailed. I had the nurse help me come up with it. The amount of dedication that the nurse has to keep me in a good health is pretty overwhelming. I don't know many school nurses who would get on to their students to spy on me, much less help get up a dietary plan. Then again, I guess it's not a normal school. And maybe this is not such a bad thing. Then again, this dietary plan seems to cut out just about everything that'll be offered at this festival tomorrow. So when does our running start? After the festival. Good. Right after the... What if I've had something to eat there? Could I get a stomachache, you know? I meant the day after the festival. I knew that. Wasn't there something we were supposed to be doing? Oh, I guess we should get the paint for Ren, huh? Oh no, it slipped my mind. Girl, what? Poor Ren. By the time we get the paint and get back to the mule, Ren's already wandered off. Oh well, Amy and I both decide to part ways there, leaving the paint on the ground. Ren will find it wherever she comes back anyway. Festival's tomorrow. I'm actually a little excited for it. At the same time, the week's left for me feeling pretty tired, so I read a little and then go to bed. The next day, I wake up feeling a little lightheaded. It's almost noon already. Sleeping late's fine since it's a Sunday and there are no classes. Not just a Sunday though, but the festival as well. From my window, I can already see some people at the soba booth slinging noodles onto plates for people with a craving for low-quality food. I throw back a handful of my morning meds and ponder how to spend the day. There will be a few exams in the coming week, but I don't consider those as ominous as others, so I'm not as worried about them as I probably should be. With no urgent obligations regarding education, I should be free to spend the day at the festival as I like. Finishing my morning routine, I exit into the hallway, intending to go out and find something to eat. Passing by his door, I decide to see what Kenji is up to today out of impulse. Oh no. I'm curious if he has any plans since everyone is doing something. Then again, I can picture him having a built-up soundproof shelter in his room. Or possibly something like a fort complete with no girls allowed sign, and with the girls crossed out and body crudely sprawled underneath it. Knocking on his door, which is luckily devoid of any kind of sign, I hear again the unsettling clicking of at least 10 locks being pulled back. The doors open up a crack. Who is it? You're supposed to ask that before you open the door. Oh, it's you. Man, it's early. It's not really that early. What is it, man? Nothing. I was just gonna ask what you're gonna do today. Half the school's out there already. Out where? Why? What? What? Is today special? Why are they there? Who are? He suddenly looks more alarmed. What day is it, man? Yeah, I guess you can't see the big wooden booths outside and people selling stuff. What are you talking about? I have my curtains closed at all times to thwart the... Ah, it's the festival. You know that, right? Oh, that's today. Oh, man. Oh. I can't believe I forgot. I don't have my fort finished yet. This is bad. This is going to be a very bad day. It's good you told me this, man. This is going to be a bad day. Why? Oh, man. They're going to be everywhere. The people outside my window socializing. Kenji rubs his temples nervously, suddenly looking very ill. It's going to be loud. Man, I was going to go out today, but now it's ruined. Everything is ruined. This is awful. This sucks. What? This really sucks. I can't go anywhere now. There's nowhere to run. Kenji seems nervous. You could even say he's majorly freaking out. I can't believe this. So that's what today was. Man, and I couldn't even prepare for it. You were helping with the decorations. I couldn't even brace myself, and now it's here, and I can't do anything. You should have told me earlier, dude. I mean, at least I know. But I could have known earlier. Imagine what I could have accomplished. Sorry, I thought you knew. We were literally finishing up decorations for this literally yesterday. So I guess you're not going to do anything today? The weather is even good. Yesterday was really windy, so I thought today would be cold. It's not though, so there's no reason to just stay inside. Yeah, you should check the festival out. Kenji groans and covers his face with his hands. No, I can't do it. They'll eat me alive out there. I know it. That has to be a joke, but he said it with such a straight face. Relatively straight. What are you going to do? We should hang out in here. You can help me build my fort. We might still make it if we work together. I wonder. I'm kind of hungry, but I made this deal that I try to take better care of myself, be healthier, you know? Don't know if I should steer clear of the takoyaki or head straight in. Deal. Sounds ominous. So what are you getting in return? Nothing, I guess. It's not that kind of a deal. Like, I get healthier. That's what I get out of it. You know what, Emmy, from our year, we kind of agreed to watch each other's backs and, oh god, I mentioned a girl. I can't believe what I'm hearing. I trusted in your judgment, man. I thought we were brothers. I know that you said that. I completely disagree. You have to call it off before it's too late. I'm absolutely not doing that. This festival, too, is just one of their ploys. He fingers his scarf nervously, faster and faster, like he's trying to start a fire. It slowly begins to calm down once the panic attack finishes running its course. I'm going to have to find some place to hide in, a safe haven, if you will, and then knock the lights out of myself. Wait, why? So I don't have to experience this horrible day. I have the perfect thing for that. I must prepare now. Ta-da! don't go to the festival. Okay, I'm definitely still going. Later, dude. A door slowly closes with a loud creak, and I don't know how to feel about what Kenji just said. It's kind of upsetting. So now I start to feel doubtful myself. What? Should I bother going? What? I've got a book that. What? I've got a book I've been meaning to read. Something about an underground postal system that may or may not exist. It's short, too. I could have it finished in a day. But would that be a good way to spend my time? Well, yeah, it definitely would be. But I suppose that would probably be a better idea to head outside, see the festival, try to integrate with all the new sideshow acts. Honestly, I should at least make an attempt to keep up the somewhat friendly personality I've had the past week. Are you not actually friendly? Maybe get something to eat, my stomach suggests. It's almost lunchtime. I could at least grab something from one of the stalls outside. I'm soon outside, surrounded by various students and people who may or may not be their parents. Every so often, I catch a glimpse of someone who clearly just came up from town for the promise of a festival. They're easy to spot, are they? Do they have just signs? The one who can't stop staring behind their eyes, you can tell they're thinking, now what's wrong with this one? I almost want to yell at them, but at the same time, can I deny that I've been doing the same thing all week? Ooh, a wave of something like disgust sweeps over me. Guilt for my own narrow-mindedness. Good. I push the thoughts aside, concentrating on the pangs of hunger that burnt my guts like a wildfire. The scent of something fried leads me to the promised land where I can get some lunch. I'm just getting my order when a loud voice interrupts me. Hey, what are you doing? Having a break, lunch, breakfast? You mean you just got up? Suddenly sleeping all morning feels like a crime. No, I meant lunch. Honest. She's not buying it. Brunch? That's not a healthy breakfast at all. Okay. She snatches my food out of my hand and glares at me. Girl, don't get in the way of my food. What is this girl doing? Hey, that's my breakfast. What happened to it being your lunch? That's right. Whatever, it's my food. Amy places her hand on her hips and begins lecturing me. Did you really forget your dietary plan already? I thought we were doing that tomorrow. You need to be more conscious of your health, Isao. And I'll do that tomorrow. What about your heart? My heart's fine the way it is. Mostly. All I can respond is the roll of the eyes. I doubt that. You wouldn't be here if that was the case, would you? Girl! This girl's got a point, of course. But I'm not about to concede it. It's not that bad of a heart. Certainly it can handle a little grief now and then. Yeah, sure. And it handle a little running just fine, too. Amy seems unconvinced. It's just the festival. Let me at least enjoy the festival. Not surprising, as I haven't even managed to convince myself. Maybe, but not if you're sleeping the day away all the time. A devious look suddenly crosses her face. Of course, if you'd been following a routine from the beginning, you wouldn't be in this situation. Hey, I've had a pretty eventful week, you know. For example, I almost croaked, and there was a lot of meeting people, and I was on the roof for a while. Which is no excuse for slacking off, you know. A little near croaking experience is no excuse for skipping basic exercise. Like running in the mornings. She nods as if something important has just been decided. Oh no. So it's settled then. What is, you've seen the error of your ways and are willing to adhere to my routine, right? I'll see you bright and early in the morning. We'll be running a buddy. You know, you'd already convinced me yesterday that this was a good idea. You don't need to convince me again. Not that I did a good job of being convinced. She's right about eating healthy after all. Here I am ordering up something grossly unhealthy. It's just for today, dude. Just let me enjoy today. I'll do the dietary plan tomorrow. Pinky promise. But delicious. There are more important things than deliciousness, aren't there? Like staying alive? If Emmy weren't here, browbeating me for my poor decisions, I'd probably... Hey, wait a second. A sudden question springs to mind. Hey, what have you taken such an interest in my well-being? Emmy shrugs and grins at me. You're the new guy. I figure you don't have any friends yet, right? Besides, I've caused you trouble all week, right? I owe you for not getting angry. And I told the nurse I would anyway. Crazy little running girl wants to make me healthy. Well, I suppose there are worse fates. Okay, that sounds fine. Thanks for your concern. Tomorrow morning then? I figure that ends the conversation until I turn to leave. Not so fast. I feel a hand on my collar, and in a second I've been yanked backwards. Hey, no need to be so rough. What do you want now? Emmy looks almost wounded by my annoyed question. Thought you could use the company as you have no friends and all. Besides me. Her eyes narrow. Besides, you were just going to try sneaking some more of that fried stuff, weren't you? No? Well, I wasn't going to, but now that she mentions it, that would have been a really good idea. I was not. Another glare. Okay, maybe I was going to get a little. The glare continues. Okay, a lot. Jesus, I'm a danger to myself and others, aren't I? I get done agreeing that I need to be healthier. Fine. And then immediately start considering the next unhealthy habit that comes my way. I knew it. You can't be trusted. Now I definitely have to stick with you. Can you see my straw? You can. You can literally see my straw. This whole situation feels silly. I can only imagine what passerbys think of the sight of me being lectured by a tiny girl half my size. Maybe I should just give up for now. Fine, do what you like. I sigh. Might as well make the best of this. What do you want to do? Mimi thinks for a minute. Well, I promised Rin I'd stop by her mural, so let's do that. I confess I'm slightly curious as to how her mural turned out myself, so again I consider there are worse fates. I also want to know. I give a nod of assent and find myself almost dragged bodily through the crowd as Emmy races to our destination. Ooh, intriguing. By the time we reach the dorms, I can feel my heart pounding. My heart shouldn't be pounding after just that. I take a few deep breaths, willing myself to calm down. I'm one of the most normal-looking people in the school, but I still have to be here. What? Sometimes I almost wish I'd lost a hand or something. What? At least then I'd be obvious that I belong. But instead I don't even look sick. Even now, trying to catch my breath, I just look out of shape. Emmy looks back and notices my state of distress. You're not going to croak on me, are you? Please don't. It'll be my fault. It'll all be my fault, and I don't want to deal with that kind of guilt. Besides, after the last time, I really don't think I need to see that again, especially because the nurse will totally say it's all my fault. That's the concern here. Nah, I'm fine. Guess I need to start running after all. And you wanted to keep eating your greasy whatever it was. See, it's a good thing I found you, right? My lost puppy. Yes, it was. Maybe. Of course I don't add that I wouldn't be in the state if she hadn't dragged me across the festival grounds. Further conversation is interrupted by the sudden appearance of Ren. Oh, it's you. Hello, Emmy. Hey, Ren. I brought Hisao along because he was going to give himself a heart attack. I was not. My objection goes unnoticed. We stopped by to see how the mural turned out. Ren nods slowly. Well, it's right there. You can see it pretty clearly. I find myself wondering how long Ren's been standing here in front of the mural. Has anyone even stopped by to look at it? Are we the first ones? Obviously, we're not the first to see it, of course. I mean, it's pretty big. You'd be hard-pressed not to see it. At the same time, I don't think anyone's actually talked to Ren about it. Anyone but us, that is. I feel compelled to say something. It looks pretty good. I'm still not happy with how it turned out, but I guess it'll do. She seems almost resigned to it. I'm not sure what she expected as a result, but I guess she didn't quite get there. We stand in front of the mural, taking it all in. I try my best to concentrate on the composition of the thing. It's actually fairly interesting. The colors swoop and blend together, dragging me along with them. There's a dreamlike quality to the whole thing that makes me almost sleepy. I try hunting out some of the colors Emmy and I grabbed for her. Try as I might, I can't see any Perusian blue. Oh well, I'm sure it's in there somewhere. My feet start to hurt, but Ren doesn't seem inclined to move on. Emmy speaks up. Hey Ren, have you eaten? Of course, you can't survive otherwise. What about it in the past 5 hours? Maybe, but I'm hungry again, so maybe that means I'm wrong. Amy grins and claps her hands together. Good, come get some food with us. Rin nods in assent. Okay, but we should hurry before they notice I'm gone. Somehow, I don't think they'd care, whoever they are. As we head back to the food stall, the cast a longing eye over the fried food. No, I'd better not. I'm pretty sure Emmy wouldn't let me anyway. We find a nice spot on the grass and sit down to eat our purchases. Well, my purchases anyway. Somehow I've wound up paying for all the food. Am I gonna be reimbursed? Surprisingly, my unfried food is pretty good. Silence falls as Emmy and I eat and Rin stares at something or other, occasionally eating a bite or two of her food. I finish my meal first and lay back on the grass. Emmy glances up from her food. Tired, Isao? A little, I guess. Well, don't oversleep or anything tomorrow morning. We start our morning runs, remember? Actually, they'd slipped my mind. How? I was actually just enjoying myself. Wandering around the festival with these two has actually been fun. Yeah, I'll set an alarm. You'd better be there. I'll get angry if you aren't. God forbid. My plan forms itself in my mind. It's a plan that makes me feel kind of guilty, but I throw it into execution anyway. Man, I've earned a little fried food. And anyway, I'm going to start running tomorrow, right? So the actual routine all starts then, not now. Ergo, the dietary portion starts tomorrow too. Ergo, I can have something unhealthy today. A sort of final farewell to all the stuff I used to eat with all wild ambition, a sort of wild farewell to all the stuff I used to eat with wild abandon before the hospital. Actually, I suppose I should head back to my room. I had some homework to do, and if I'm going to run in the morning, I should make it an early night. Those narrow eyes again. You sure you're not just going to sneak off and buy some of that fried stuff over there? Nah, I'm too full to bother now. I pat my stomach for emphasis. Besides, you two have cleansed me of me out anyway. Emmy giggles. It's a surprisingly pleasant sound. Another pang of guilt. She's got to know that I'm lying to her, doesn't she? Or is she just that trusting? I feel kind of like a monster. All part of my master plan, Hisao. Well, I guess I'll see you tomorrow morning then. Thanks for the food and for keeping us company. And here I thought she was doing me a favor. Rin nods in agreement. I won't say see you tomorrow because that would be like predicting the future, and I'm pretty sure I can't do that. Okay. Bye, you two. I feel oddly glad that I decided to leave my room today. Not a bad way to start my second week here, I suppose. Once I'm sure I'm out of Emily's line of sight, I make a beeline for the food stands and buy some cake. At least it's not fried, right? That's slightly better than what I was planning to do. I still feel a little bad about lying to Emmy, though. She really does seem concerned about my health. I'll make it up to her somehow. Better head back to my room. Hey, I do have work to do. My book waits for me, and I flop to the bed and read through the fireworks display. Well, that was quick. There's a huge lead up to that festival, and it's like, what's so merrily there? Eventually, all the walking around, or more accurately, running around, catches up with me. I really am out of shape. Same. If he drags me out of the morning to run, might be just a good thing after all. It's something to look forward to. I didn't know we'd get animations. Oh, oh no. Oh, she'll know. Oh, thank you, Emmy. Oh, I thought he was gonna say no. I got it. Oh, she's got an apple. Oh, we're apple picking together. That's cute. Oh, Act 2 form. I didn't know that there were acts. Oh, okay, so I'm on Emmy's route? Oh, well, okay. It's Carnival finished Emmy's Act 1. Oh, yeah, I was. Oh, I didn't know that. No. Oh, can you stand up by yourself? Reach Emmy's good ending? Oh, wait, there's another ending? That's crazy. Wow, that was the end of it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this game with me. I really like the representation. I really like the that I had romance. Honestly, that it's not really usual where there's disabilities involved and there's also romance, and the romantic partner is with a disability. Like, it's just not typical, and I absolutely love that there's actually a game like that.